Welcome back, everybody. Now, on June 9th is World Accreditation Day, and to chat with us about that is Colleen Lewis, who is the manager of Laboratory Accreditation Service right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, Colleen.
Good morning, Carrie.
Thank you for being with us this morning. And just that video we were looking at there, we saw that accreditation affects a number of things, that some people may not even have thought accreditation would have affected. So let's go through a little bit of each of the things in which we just saw in that video there and how accreditation affects it. So
Sure,
first
no
off,
problem.
I saw that accreditation was used as part of the process or part of ensuring that, for instance, safe food gets to, is imported and exported and it gets to persons in a safe manner, safe for consumption. How does accreditation help with that, really?
Hi, good morning. Thanks again for having us. Accreditation is it's an invisible net that provides an assurance of safety when it comes to services that are being provided by organizations that we call conformity assessment bodies, such as testing laboratories, calibration laboratories, inspection bodies, certification bodies. So, from the perspective of food safety, what you're talking about is the concept of the quality of the raw materials going into the production of the product, all the way to the process of ensuring that the product is safe for consumption by the consumer, and that when it's exported and reaches into the importing country, they are also assured that the testing, the inspection, the certification for the services of that produced that product um, can be trusted. So therefore, when they accept it, they can just put it onto their shelves and product can be sold. It's an insurance kind of process
Right,
that that gives the the exporter, person who's manufacturing the food, that their product will not be rejected at the
right.
importing market because it meets. There's evidence that's objective that says it meets all the requirements.
So it sets a standard by which they can follow. So as long as they follow the guidelines about the standard that should be met, it would be considered safe for import, export, consumption, etc.
Consumption, everything.
Now, how does accreditation relate to gender equality?
Right. So gender equality is an interesting one. So this may not be the situation in Trinidad and Tobago. However, in other parts of the world where gender inequalities exist, the way in which a person may be selected for a job may be based on the particular gender of the person.
Right,
So, males over females generally. In this situation, what they're saying with gender equality is that you are now defining competence specifications of that person. So that you need to have a degree in this particular subject area, that you need to be competent, have levels of certification, let's say, that are traceable and trusted, so that regardless of whether you are male or female, you meet the requirements. And therefore, when you go to a job interview, it is now not based on your gender, but it is based on your demonstration of competence.
right,
So it brings
right.
equality to
And
the
you know
two.
that's something we may not it may not be overt here in Trinidad and Tobago, but for all we know, there could be cases where that is happening and it's under the table, so to say. So
Yes,
having accreditation, being a part of that process and ensuring that the playing field is as level as possible as society would allow it to be possible. At least that is helpful in that regard. When it comes now to education, how does accreditation play a part?
right. So there is the process of, well, in Trinidad and Tobago, of the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago for Education. So they're looking at the fact that the qualifications that are being administered by these educational institutions are legitimate, essentially, that they meet the needs of the market and they are really teaching people to be this particular specialist. Uh, Things like the legitimacy of the organization, that the fact that the school or the university is a legitimate university.
Right.
That when the qualification has been administered after the student has paid money to this organization, that in future, be it 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, the organization still exists. And you
Right.
can still ask about the quality of that education system so that you understand the quality of the competence of that person that you're hiring. So it affects the education system from that perspective as well.
Now, when it comes to educational accreditation, there are different, there are, let's call it different brands of accreditation, and there are some that are more widely accepted than others. What would make one better than the other when it comes to the accreditation, especially with education?
Yes, education and the health sector, I might say, when you're dealing with the accreditation of hospitals. Um, Globally, it varies because most of these programs are really established based on the economy and the laws and the protection of the citizens in that particular economy. And what happens is that some countries will, um, usually more developing countries, may accept a particular kind of style of certification or accreditation over another,
Right.
if within their country they can't or have not developed their own standards, let's say, of acceptance. Um, so what is happening though, at least within the healthcare system, through the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, out of Geneva, there is a technical committee that is actually trying to standardize the, the management system for hospitals or health institutions, as they are called, so that this these requirements, these standards, are accepted by everyone across the world. And therefore, when you move to that process and you hear similar to how you hear ISO 9001,
Right.
and everybody says, okay, yeah, we could trust that company, that kind of process will be happen. So it'll be a common language around
Right.
the world. So there is a level of standardization of the standards
Right.
that also has to happen, so that you eradicate that particular situation that you've just raised, where it varies,
Right.
and then
Right.
people have to choose and decide,
And decide, and
you're unsure.
some persons' qualifications may no longer be accepted in certain
Yes.
spheres. Before we go, we don't have much time left, but
Mhm.
the theme for 2021's World Accreditation Day is accreditation supporting the implementation of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. How does accreditation support that?
Yes, so accreditation supports that because the UN Sustainable Development Goals are about protecting the planet, um, meeting the needs of the people, ensuring prosperity, looking at peace, and creating partnerships. And all of those activities require some level of assessment. So whether it's testing, calibration, inspection, and accreditation is that background assurance that is supporting those foreground activities. And today we are for World Accreditation Day because we have a week of celebrations. We are looking at theme 4 of our Vision 2030, which is Trinidad and Tobago's linkage to the SDGs as well as our national development strategy. And that one is about building globally competitive businesses. And in that way, that the theme of prosperity, building prosperity, is what we are focusing on.
And we actually have a video that tells us a bit about that. So before we throw to that video, I want to thank you for your time this morning and joining us here on the Now Morning Show.
Thank you very much, Carrie, for having me. You have a
Thank
great
you.
day and happy
You
World
as well.
Accreditation Day.
Yes, happy World Accreditation Day to you too. Have a good one.
Okay.
That's Colleen
Bye-bye.
Lewis, who is the manager of Accreditation Laboratory Services. We are now going to take a look at that video named Prosperity.